So further upon the seed sown upon stony ground, to really understand what Jesus is saying, because it had no depth of earth, it immediately sprung up. I mean, and I've watched this in my own walk with God amongst believers who, when persecution rose because of the word, the it was scorched and dried up and withered because of the rising of the sun, the heat of the persecution, because it had no depth of earth. It had nothing for the root to take place in because of the hardness of the ground. Talking about the hardness of heart, and that hardness of heart is from sin, as the writer of Hebrews in chapter 3, I think it's verse 15, he says, lest any of you be hardened, lest your hearts be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. I mean, and we got to understand also that spirit of fear, the spirit of bondage, and the writer of Hebrews talks about that Jesus, partook of flesh and blood that he might destroy him who had power over death, that he might free those who all their lifetime were subject to bondage because of the fear of death. I mean, we got to understand this. And, I've discerned that in my mind through my walk with God over the decades, that spirit of bondage, that spirit of fear. And a lot of people don't discern that in their mind, because that's where that spirit of bondage attacks people. I mean, whether you're truly born of the one, if you're truly born of Jesus in water baptism, you believe that there is one God, because eternal life is to know the one true God and Jesus whom he sent. You still got to battle with that spirit of bondage. Or as Paul calls Satan, the god of this world, the prince of the power of the air, that blinds the hearts of the disobedient. If you're not willing to do God's will, you're going to stay blinded to the truth.